Deep within the chaos wastes, a monolith of marble extols the beauty and the terror of Dechala. The darkly radiant malice which none can withstand. Whatever and whomever she desires is hers to ruin and corrupt. Her whirling madness has driven her across the known world. Her serpentine form strikes fear into the hearts of the dragons themselves. And she shall be denied no longer.
And we shall be denied of a campaign no longer. RuinusInsight here, welcoming you to part 1 of a brand new Total Warhammer 3 Immortal Empires campaign. Tides of Torment is nearly upon us, and Dechala the Denied One will take us to the threshold. Now, I know you guys like to be edged, so the plugs first. Check out our Discord and join the Ruinous host. Consider joining the channel or becoming a Patreon to get access to perks like exclusive votes, or support the channel by purchasing your games, like the Tides of Torment DLC, through our affiliate link in the description below. Now, enough of that, let's take a quick look at the brand new Tormentors faction. So, Dechala has the Tormentors Tributes mechanic. Basically, spend some currency to get buffs, ancillaries, really a bunch of stuff that we'll check out once we're in-game. Now, instead of seducing units, like Nakari does, I guess, Dechala has a different mechanic wherein she corrupts those units, weakening them in the upcoming fight. Otherwise, faction-wide, her characters get bonus XP and her marauders get bonus physical resistance plus cheaper upkeep. Cheap early game units and the marauders being even cheaper is pretty darn good for snowballing. Lord effects-wise, Dechala can equip 2, count 'em, 2 weapons instead of 1. She steals her minions' XP, she steals her enemies' magic items, and she buffs her non-demonic units' weapon strength. Setup-wise, what we're doing is very hard, as I find that to be the sweet spot. We're also dialing the AI stats modifier up to the max as usual, and that's about it. All glory to the algorithm, and let's get to it.
In sweet surrender or bitter misery, I shall have them all.
Alrighty, bitter misery or misery for all, perhaps, seems an appropriate thing to say, as we have a Druki anointed with us, with the sleek, more speed for the army, and Wayfarer. Kind of nice to have speed, but overall not the biggest buff, not that it matters. Anyway, on field at last, but before we get into our first battle, briefly, let's see how the Tormentors play. So, they bear some resemblance, I would say, to the Chaos Dwarfs, having a thrall workforce, or something force. Anyway, similar to the workforce of the Chaos Dwarfs, as well as 3 different types of settlements. Pleasure palaces are going to be the main ones, like towers for the Chaos Dwarfs. They are limited in number and they give faction-wide benefits. Thrall camps generate the new Thrall currency, which does a bunch of stuff, really. Build the pleasure palaces, buff your armies, perform pleasurable acts, which are like the workforce dictats of the Chaos Dwarfs, and various things, basically. Lastly, the Tormentors hold is sort of a depleted military camp, as in it can't generate any more of the Thrall currency, but you can build military structures out of it and gain some very minor faction-wide buffs as well. We've got the Pleasure Palaces also generating another currency, Decadence, which allows us for some temporary bonuses, some upgrades, buying ancillaries. Basically, we'll check it all out once we actually unlock it when we get to 100. We've got the Boons of Slaanesh, where we maybe pay a little bit of the thralls in order to buff an individual army, like Decala's, and we'll probably use one in a second. And lastly, like Nakari, we will have access to disciple armies, bonus armies, basically in areas with high corruption, and we can confer gifts of Slaanesh on defeated lords. Alright, I think that's about it. That was a lot of stuff at once to think about. For those unfamiliar with the game and how Slaanesh works generally, we'll sort of check it out more as we go. Let's in fact check out our first battle. So, Dechala, we're going to start you up with a Spur of Eagerness. I like character experience gain early, late, mid-game, at all times. It's super valuable, and we want to level up Dechala to her unique line as fast as possible. So, a Spur of Eagerness. I say greatness? Greatness, eagerness, all good. Alrighty, and what do we have here? A bunch of gobos. It's our first battle, so it's designed so it can't be lost, but it's our first battle with Dechala, so it'll be our first cinematic fight. Go.
They will kneel with legs cut at the knee. They will grovel with guts around their necks.
Alrighty, here we go. I'm excited to see the kind of speech and animation power creep Dechala and her signature champions of Slaanesh will give us. There we go. And, well, let's take a quick look at all the new units that we have in this army at the current time. The Anointed of Slaanesh, a Druki unit, as well as a couple of units of those devotees of Slaanesh with crossbows, I should say, which appear to be a Shade-type unit, just without stock. They have decent melee attack and defense, comparable to... But their armor-piercing missile damage is actually surprisingly low. That's actually quite interesting, as compared to regular Dark Elven units that rely on crossbows. Or maybe I'm just too used to SFO. But anyway, we'll definitely have to try our best to get a Dark Elven vassal in order to mix and match our Slaaneshi units with our Dark Elven units and our Slaaneshi Dark Elven units. And Dechala intercepts an enemy unit of the Forest Goblin Spider Riders over on the left flank, and the Champions of Slaanesh do the same on the right, while our Anointed of Slaanesh heads towards the enemy lord and swings that great sword to hopefully do a bit of damage. Mostly I don't want to see any of those vindictive glares from the enemy lord, and by the looks of it, this army will fall rather quickly. A couple of hits from Dechala and a little bit of help from that Anointed, and it looks like the enemy lord's already booking it on out of there, and it looks like in fact the entire army will rapidly shatter, and the battle will be ours. Alright, fair enough. Didn't get the chance to see too many animations from our units as yet, but it's only the first fight, it always goes quick. We'll see him again in the next one. Alright, there we go. Spin to win begins, and I'm excited to see plenty more, but tons of kills on those Champions of Slaanesh, and at 230 massively outdoing everyone, and out-damaging them too with the 14k damage. I wonder what tier you guys are at. Are you 3 or 4? I'm 4 maybe, considering the devotees are going to be tier 3 units, considering Marauders will be tier 2, but anyway, let's check that out in a second. What do we have for rewards? So a little bit of replenishment, which is not worth our time. 92 thralls versus 325 gold. I'm gonna say grab the thralls for this. Seems to be worth it. We did just use a bunch, and we'll want to use a bunch more on a bunch more stuff. Alright, enemy killed in battle, and Dechala will level up a little bit. And engage the enemy. Defeat an enemy army belonging to Cluster-Eye tribe. Done. Capture and occupy Mountain Pass will be done in a second. Let's, however, first do a couple of things. First of all, we'll want to grab a technology, and it looks like a completely different tech tree by the looks of it. Alright, we'll have to take a quicker look at this later on, but, oh, two turns? Alright, we'll do one of these then, just because it's quicker. Since Dechala buffs non-demonic units, we'll start with the non-demonic, and 10 missile resistance and 10 armor for an early tech. Yeah, that's the choice. That's definitely the choice. That's a significant buff for the already fragile, weak units. And then, hello, population surplus +1 for newly captured settlements. Yeah, okay, that's this one that we're gonna do second. Hello, upkeep reduction, and that's the one we're gonna do third. Possibly. Actually, I think that upkeep might not be super important for this particular faction, but we shall see. Alrighty, we've got our tech choices. Then, Dechala, I'm going to want you to level up a teensy bit. So let's say start with... I mean, we'll want Root Marcher, but we'll level up as soon as we attack anyway. And what does the Druki Anointed have? Replenish troops? Yes, yes. 100% yes. Anything unique that you do? Guardian will be useful. Ward Save and Frenzy. We have to choose between that. Ooh. Evasion for the entire... Okay, yeah, that's the obvious choice here. Evasion for the entire army. Or Frenzy specifically for devotees or devotees. That's good. It's good, but it's not as good as Evasion for the entire army. And Champions of Slaanesh, yes, as expected, are going to be level 4 or tier 4. Alright, you're going to head to Mountain Pass there, Dechala. I do notice that we're losing magic as well. Now, this is a slightly bigger army. Do we want to auto-resolve it? Alright, let's take a quick look at what we have upcoming here. We have another outpost, which will have a... Well, I guess we could auto-resolve this one, and then fight this one again. It's slightly stronger, but it does have some orc boys, and... why not? Why not? I'm not tired of this yet, go.
For them the torments, the enticements, and the broken promises, and love and life denied.
Alrighty, here we go. Another battle, and this one should be a little bit tougher. The enemy does have a unit of Wolf Riders and some Orc Boys as well, plus this terrain should keep it pretty darn interesting. And Dechala heads on in to intercept the Goblin Wolf Riders, and then of course we follow that up with... Dechala, you want to attack him? There you go. Follow that up with the Champions of Slaanesh as well. Now we do have to be careful with them because they are quite fragile, and in fact they take about 20% of their damage on the charge. All good though, we have a pretty decent terrain advantage here as we head down those hills to fight the boys and the goblins. And it'll be a matter of grinding the enemy army down, and with the terrain advantage we should be perfectly capable of doing so. Plus elevation advantage for our range units mean they will be able to fire upon the enemy effectively with impunity. Alright, trying to find Dechala in here somewhere. Oh, there she is. Alright, hopefully our own units don't block her too much. I want to see some of those execution animations for infantry. There we go. The spin to wins are going to be always fun to watch, though. Probably better to just send her, there we go, right into the sort of center of the enemy blob. And we do have the ability to use her Dance of Dagger, no, just Dance of Destruction or Praise of Slaanesh. Praise of Slaanesh seems considerably better, even at the cost of the minus 36 melee attack, because it makes her significantly more tanky. And the Slaanesh could use tanky units, as its roster is generally fairly fragile. Alright, starting to take some damage on a few of our units at this point. Dechala is just sort of disrupting the enemy formation and moving through it. But otherwise the enemy is kind of failing to press their advantage as these spears hold them back. Spears hold them back while Dechala hits them in the back. Alright, unfortunately the hill makes it impossible to get it closer to the action with the camera, but all good. Alright, and they're holding certainly longer than the first fight. I'm almost tempted to say that maybe the enemy was debuffed in the first fight in some way. Again, and you're not supposed to be able to lose the first fight, so that would make sense, even if it's just a superstition. Anyway, Amount's power has shifted to about 90% in our favor at this point. The enemy army is being enveloped in a Slaaneshi giggle and will soon be obliterated. They're running out of numbers, and when greenskins don't have numbers on you, they're generally not going to win. Alrighty, with that, it looks like the enemy army will shatter, and the second battle goes our way as well. I'm going to really enjoy playing in Cathay over the course of this campaign. Well, I mean, I'm sure we'll spread out elsewhere, but Cathay has some really, really nice maps, so... Yeah, plus the green, plus these sort of, I don't know, peach blossoms or whatever these trees are, sort of match the Slaaneshi aesthetic on top of that, and with the corrupted Slaaneshi skies, it's all going to be a really nice and on theme. Alright, there we go. A significantly better fight than the first one, in my opinion. And yeah, definitely worth taking, though the next, you know, tiny fight like this will probably auto-resolve. Once again, the Champions of Slaanesh rack up the kills, and Dechala did pretty well as well, on par with the rest of her units, and got up to level 4. Good. This one we will occupy as a Thrall camp. A regional Thrall population. So we start with a Thrall population which becomes depleted over time, going from 1,000 down to 0, as the Thralls get transferred to our sort of global, you know, currency hold, our coffers, our Thrall coffers, I don't know what they're calling them. Anyway, and then at that point you either abandon the settlement or you simply, do we actually need this recruitment building here? I'm not sure that we do, because we would... Well, I guess we could upgrade it to this tier. You know what, let's upgrade it. As to whether we do keep it, that remains to be seen. Anyway, a gateway to Kurashin Southern Outpost. Yeah, so this will be our first pleasure palace, where we will probably be building our main buildings for military recruitment. The... yeah, the regional Thrall population. We'll see how long it takes to bring it down to 0 before we have to, you know, convert this into a Tormentor's hold. We shall see. Anyway, capture and occupy complete. Next we have to... Ooh, free Iron Curse icon. Next we have to maintain and control 1 province. I think we can manage. Alright, so Dechala, I would like you to recruit with... I guess depending on how many... You know what, let's start with Devoted Marauders of Slaanesh with... Let's do 1 and 1 for now. We'll see what other types we need. We shall unlock other recruitments quickly. Recruit Hero not available, but we may want to get a quick new Lord up and running. Scaled Skin is solid, but I prefer this on Chaos Sorcerer Lords because you can put them on... Actually, speaking of Sorcerer Lords, what do we have here? Hideous Visage, Horrible Smell effect, reducing leadership. Only by a -6, though, not big enough to, I think, be concerned with. We have Evil Eyeball, Iron Skin is nice, Missile Block, Chance Armor, Unit Mass. We also have Heralds of Slaanesh. 25 armor on the Heralds, make them a little bit tougher. Maybe go with one of you. You would be able to reinforce rather quickly, and I see that they are all the same cost. Yeah, alright, I think we'll go with the Herald of Slaanesh. Makes sense to me, specifically if the Lore of Slaanesh variety. Oh, slightly more expensive to recruit, but all good. Alright, I just want to have a Lord that we could use to recruit while Dechala channels, because we got to get her her magics up and running. Speaking of Dechala, we will want to get Root Marcher immediately, and then we'll start wanting to go through Hellish Stride, because it buffs up all the basic Marauder units. We will start saving points at some point for her unique line. Rage for all non-demonic units, nice. The physical resistance will be very useful, and upkeep reductions. Whirlwind of Pleasure is a vortex for Dechala herself, and we've got immunity to contact effects, melee attack and defense for all Marauders, Hellstriders, and Chariots. Dagger Dance ability, so more damage, or resistance and armor. Unyielding Assault, melee defense. Eroding Poison, what do we have here? So all Marauder type units get a damage over time poison, a better poison essentially. I like it. And then of course additional movement range and Wayfarer for Dechala. I'm actually surprised that she wouldn't have it automatically being a snack. Anyway, you can have Dance of Death for the melee defense, and we'll go through hard to hit because clearly you need it. Alright, looks like we're good to end the turn unless I'm mistaken, not much to do. In SFO we would uncollect the income, but it's not needed here. We also suffer rather limited debuffs from having low control, and also get rather limited buffs from high control, so all good. Alrighty, I guess we probably... Ooh, Nakai's here. Okay, we will really want to get Nakai's defeat trait as fast as possible. Like Croc Gar's, Saurus Smiter, Nakai's, I don't know, Wander No More. I don't remember what the name of the defeat trait is, but I do remember that both of them give us 10 melee defense, which any Slaaneshi Lord would really benefit from. Alright, so Dechala. I'm going to ignore this because we can't reach it in one turn, although this would be a good time to knock Nakai out. We need to knock these guys out first and capture our first pleasure palace. I'm going to say... Alright, go out here. We'll put you, Alex, into an camp. Oh, I can't quite... Okay, wait, go here. Alright, they do have... Ooh, looks like a fight for us. Okay, we'll do another one-on-one. Then Dechala, I would like you to go into channeling stance and stay in our province, and then we'll hit Southern Outpost next turn. We got 4 more turns of the bonus XP, and we'll want to make use of it. Otherwise, it's another quick end turn. And our first technology will be completed before we hit this. Alright, it does look like Nikai is moving away. I believe he starts off fighting some Cathayan faction. Oh, speaking of Cathayan factions... It might be quite beneficial to... Oh, you're not gonna run. Good. It might be quite beneficial to try to vassalize them. How much do they hate us? Actually, not as much as I thought they would. It would be nice to have at least one Cathayan faction, wouldn't it? Alright, we'll take a look at that in a bit. We have got the leadership +6. You are not running. And we do have to take the Southern Outpost. I do wonder if you'll run if we attack you. Oh, we can't reach you anyway, so you'd reinforce. Alright, fair enough. You, Dechala, are going to go to Southern Outpost in regular stance. I assume you can't channel while in a settlement. I wish the Winds of Magic were not low here, but all good. Alrighty, and there we go. Close victory. We could corrupt some units. It's actually not that expensive. Maybe we will, just for fun. I want to see what it does. How much of an effect it has. And then you can go here. Transfer these to Dechala, who will obviously command them better than you can. And you can come in as a reinforcement there, Alex. And no buildings to be built. We could use some of the thralls to increase... Oh, we got recruitment cost reductions. And then growth and control. I will think about it for now, though. Let's upgrade and then let's move on into the fight. Hard to hit for you, obviously. You hate corn and you hate elves, so we'll make sure to fight some of those. And we'll go in here, and then we will use 200 gold to corrupt specifically the Orc Boys, the best unit that the enemy has. Goblin Wolf Riders, also good. Anyway, corrupt units. Melee defense reduction, missile strength, speed, weapon strength, leadership, and melee attack. I just won. I want to see if it has any kind of appearance on the battle map. Go.
I will take their breath away and give their souls their freedom back.
Alrighty, here we go. Damn, Dechala is very quick at 80 speed, and I'm sure we'll get it over 100 eventually. Too bad we can't go and defeat Nikari for a bonus army speed, just to get it up even further, Slaaneshi giggle. Anyway, our first battle where we're outnumbered and the lord of the enemy faction by the looks of it, so this will probably break these greenskins. Dechala is going to be the first into the fight, especially with that praise of Slaanesh. She has 96 melee defense and can certainly act as a tank very effectively. Pinning this unit of Goblin Wolf Riders in place means that it will not be able to charge our units, and Slaaneshi being pretty darn fragile, we don't want to take charges, we want to give charges, etc. Anyway, unit of Orc Boys has moved towards our spears, and we will pin them in place while the units of... Okay, it's gonna be a while before I remember their names. Devotees of Slaanesh plink away at the enemy range, and by the looks of it, tear through that unit of Goblin Archers, while the second unit of Goblin Archers will get hit by our champions of Slaanesh. Admittedly, they're also very useful in terms of mincing the enemy melee front lines, but they can always charge into their backs as well once they're done here, because they almost already are. Alright, the balance of power has shifted to about 90% in our favor at this point, but of course this is a lie. We're outnumbered due to the fact that there are reinforcements coming in, and those reinforcements will be here in a mere 10 seconds. The goal, of course, was to destroy or cripple this first enemy army before the second reinforcement set arrives, or the reinforcements arrives, and by the looks of it, we've more or less done so. Sadly, it means we can't bleed them and play with our food a little bit, but all good. We'll have plenty of other enemy factions to enjoy. Alright, and it looks like this first army is pretty much shattered. I think a couple of units are gonna rally, including this unit of Wolf Riders, who Dechala has been just keeping back this entire time in her tanky form. But getting kills at the same time. I mean, she may be using the praise of Slaanesh this entire time. She still killed this entire unit effectively by herself. Pretty solid. Anyway, the reinforcements are here. A Goblin Great Shaman leads with 3 units of Forest Goblin Spider Riders, which are fragile but not to be underestimated. 41 melee defense is pretty solid, 45 armor, medium armor, but, you know, better than our armor, and poison contact effect, of course. They're not going to be nearly as effective in vanilla as they are in SFO, which I usually play, but at the same time, they're still a very effective unit for their cost, tier 1 or now. Ooh, and by the looks of it, they get their first charge creeping out of the forest and moving into those devoted Marauders of Slaanesh while they were on the move and unable to make use of their... wait. Oh, these are the anti-infantry variant, rather than the spear variant, but all good. Would be better if these guys charge the spears, but fortunately for us, the other units charge the spears instead, which will block them off. And of course, the Druki devotees will fire over the heads of the other Slaaneshi Marauders and into the enemy below. We'll definitely need Dark Elf vassals, and we will definitely need Norskin vassals, since we use both Dark Elf and Norskin units. We'll want to, again, mix and match. Anyway, unfortunately for the AI, it foolishly charged the Forest Goblin Spider Riders directly into our front lines, and the spiders get sent packing by the anti-large spears rather quick. And Dechala finished up with the enemy unit of Wolf Riders and is now heading towards the enemy lord. And by the looks of it, she does not need the defensive buff anymore. Ooh. I really want to see her do some execution animations, though the spin to wins are very entertaining. I know that Valkia has an infantry execution animation, which is why I kind of want to see one from Dechala. And I always mention Valkia's because it's my favorite. And hey, would you look at that? Our Herald of Slaanesh is here. Yeah, and it looks like the enemy lord will get taken down, but possibly by the... Actually, we'll just get run down by Dechala. Now he's gonna get back up. Alright, let's see if anybody does anything interesting with the kill here. Come on. The battle is over. The enemy has been broken. Against Lords Without Mounts, I do feel that the speed of Dechala might be working. Oh, wow, that poor goblin. I was saying that Decala's speed might work against her because she's going to keep knocking him down like that. But as long as they get knocked out, too. Beautiful. Alright, there we go. Free Charmed Shield. The bonus damage resistance will certainly be helpful, and, well, generally the whole thing will be helpful. Couldn't catch the spiders, unfortunately, and damage-wise we, well, performed actually a little bit better with the Marauders than previously. Mostly, probably, actually, because the Champions of Slaanesh were a little bit busy tearing through the enemy ranged line, and quite effectively, I might add, as the poor little gobos had no chance to deal with them. Occupies Thrall Camp once again. Alright, there's that Charmed Shield, Gift of Slaanesh given, but I fear that the little army will not return it. Oh, he got destroyed. Huh, interesting. Alright, fair enough. You're gonna move this way. I don't know whether we can reach Gate of Corruption one bound. Also, is it a walled settlement? It is, but it is only a tier 1, so the garrison is actually quite pathetic. Dechala is up to rank 6. Let's put 2 more points into Hellish Stride, and now giving more armor for the Marauders. And in 4 turns, even more armor. Druki Anointed will max out, well, not max out, but get another point in Replenish Troops. And do we want any more? Let's get a couple of Hell Scourges. I definitely, I mean, the non-SFO version, the vanilla version is, you know, a lot weaker than the SFO version, which sort of leans into the idea, the concept, the role a little bit better with a Overwhelm debuff, which gives a much bigger debuff than Poison does. But Decala's concept allows for that eroding poison anyway, which would overwrite this anyway with a better poison. Anyway. The word anyway has lost all meaning. Anyway, let's do what we gotta do. Regional Thrall depletion rate. We want to add as much Thralls to the global pool as possible. Depletion rate minus 5% per turn. That's quite interesting, but I guess we gotta start with the Carver's Cages. Why not? Alright, this is complete, and there's nothing else to do other than possibly get the control, but I'm not sure that we want to waste any additional thralls on that, so I'm going to forego it. Skip. Alright, we do have a cult here, by the looks of it, that we started with. Yeah, these guys don't hate us. They're appreciating our attacking the Clusteride tribe. We will probably start on this eventually. We'll have to probably delete the Words of Temptation and then... What does this do? A little bit of Slaaneshi corruption. We'll leave it in place for now, but then replace it with the Dark God's Choice to get a Slaanesh cult magus. Yeah, alright, anyway. We'll recruit, we'll move, we'll hit the Gateway of Koresh either next turn or this turn, depending on how far we can travel. Probably not worth it to level up Alex, as in to get her the same thrall buff. Faction destroyed Wormkins. Aw. Okay, so there was a Norscan faction here that I was hoping to vassalize, but I wonder if we can revive them. I guess we'll find out. Yeah, so you can't reach this. You just can, but you have no siege attacker. We do have siege attacker on the Champions of Slaanesh in theory. So if we were to use Dechala to reinforce, we could transfer the entire army. And considering this is a pretty pathetic garrison, it's probably not even... Alright, fine. I'm gonna say go to the Gateway of Koresh then, like so.
Freedom is
Go.
power.
Dechala, I'm going to have you... Oh, you might not even need to march stance. We'll see in a second. Yeah. Hold on to this. Alex, I would like you to upgrade a Lash of Slaanesh as well. And Dechala, can you move and transfer? You can. Transfer all your troops. Well, actually, really, you only need to transfer the champions, because these guys will still be buffed up. So we'll do that, which gives us the ability to transfer medium casualties. Is this worth fighting? I mean, it's gonna be the same fight. Yeah, they're walled, but honestly, I think we've seen enough of the greenskin fights. I'd rather move to a different faction. Fight different foes. Hopefully this won't damage us so heavily that the auto-resolve... Well, I guess we'll find out. Auto-resolve. It's fine. Alrighty, occupy. And yes, our first Pleasure Palace. I was also really excited to see what this does. So, yeah, occupy as Pleasure Palace. And there we go. So we got our first one, which generates that decadence, which we've been hankering for. And you need thralls in order to upgrade it. In order to get a second palace, we will need to get a Wing of Indulgence, which we don't have up and running yet. And here I assume... Ooh, income and decadence. Okay, I don't know what... Oh, it costs thralls. Yeah, build it nonetheless. Notice this, maintain control and issue a commandment. Okay, we'll do that in a second. Slaaneshi mutant, diplomatic relations with Slaaneshi factions. Great. Enemy killed in battle, charmed shield, Cathayan hinterlands secured. Iron curse icon for issuing a commandment. Yes, we'll do that in a second. Character XP gain plus turn for local province. Huh, that might be useful. I was saying we should go after Nakai next, so if we move through our own territory... Ooh, wait, I have an idea. What are you looking at? Minus 41. Huh. Oh, we can't transfer the first Pleasure Palace. Did it become our new capital? It did not. What if we join war? Yes, we can vassalize you. Alright, let's do this. Western provinces versus the Golden Order. You're already at... You know what? You're bordering the Golden Order, so we'll declare war on the Western provinces and vassalize you. This will prevent the Golden Order from killing you, and kind of stop them in their tracks for a little bit, maybe even forcing them to fight other factions. While the Western provinces are probably busy with other factions where they are, and will have to go through the Golden Order's territories to move towards the Burning Wind nomads. Mostly I just want some Cathayan units and some Slaaneshi armies. Gotta have at least one corrupted Cathayan faction, right? Let's do this. Alrighty. And, alright, so there's no armies in their territory, and oh wow. They have a lot of trade goods. Well, this is a bit of a loss, and each trade good gives us 12 thralls per turn, meaning 48 thralls per turn loss. I mean, we could always devassalize them and kill them later if we want to. I will think about it. Yeah, okay, so we're good there then. Dechala, are you able to channel? No, unfortunately not. You probably then can go into March stance. You, Alex, can leave this place. You can go in. You can transfer this back. I just want to make sure that you heal a little bit more. Alex can then... Oh, Slangors, what do we... Is it from this? Yes, it is. Funster's Workshop. Research rate, decadence, unit XP for all armies. Alright. Anyway, let's take a... I was busy, and then, yeah. Anyway, announce supremacy gives us control, which admittedly is dropping and it's costing us extra recruitment, but we'll deal with it in a bit. Income from thrall camps at the cost of control. And growth and... Ooh. You know what? I think, much as I'd like the extra XP, growth is really nice as well. It's only 15. Also, let's upgrade one of these. You know what? Let's start with the Palatial Delights and then we'll swap it out later. What do we want to do here? Aha! We have a military structure that would enable us to build Marauder horses, which this doesn't have. Although there's probably a bunch of other things that we want to build here. Assuming we want to build all 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. It'll be 1, 2, 3, 4. Meaning we wouldn't have space to build these things in here. And I see, okay, these two give us capacities. This gives us more decadence. And there's probably also stuff that we want to build out of this chain. Research rate, a unit XP gain for all armies? Yeah, so we can't have all the military structures. We could, of course, temporarily build this one just for a little bit in the way of the Marauder horses. I would like to get them early. Although it will delay the Wing of Sensation a bit, but it is what it is. I think we build it and then we'll delete it later. I assume that we can get some of the thralls back afterwards. Okay, so that's decided. Dechala, don't recruit for... well... still recruit. Grab a couple of Slangors. I don't know about the Forsaken. We might get a couple of Forsaken in here as well, just for variety's sake. Dechala, I think we can have you save your points now for your unique line, and the Druki Anointed will continue going through hard to hit. Alright, so this enables us to move towards Nakai next. Skip, skip, and then turn. I don't know if I've forgotten anything, but if I did, it's too late now. And then with Alex recruiting, we'll have Dechala channel as she moves towards the Tower of Ashung. And hopefully that will give us the time to max out our mana. And hopefully it'll give Nakai the time to max out his army, so we have a nice fight. Light begins Zappos construction, Iron Curse Psychon, maintain control of 2 provinces, working on... oh, mission success... huh? We don't own 2 provinces... oh, it counts military allies and vassals. Well, that was easy. Fair enough. Alrighty, so Dechala, you now will go into channeling stance. And move this way. Mostly because I just don't want the debuffs from this. Leadership reduction, casualty or punishment reduction, and physical resistance. And this doesn't say anything about solely applying to demonic units either. Alright, you, go deliver those Slangors, please. Like so. And we got a little bit more in the way of space at level, what, 4? We should unlock, oh, level 10. We'll unlock the Princes of Perfection, which we'll want, because they're devoted marauders, and Dechala buffs them. Which will leave us with 2 more spaces. Riders of the Mighty Serpent might also be worth our time. Magical damage dealing marauder horses, and I did want to build a few more of those. We can, but we can also save it until next turn or until we're over here, so let's do that. We're good otherwise. We have the Palatial Delights for maybe a couple more turns, and then we'll swap it out. Skip, skip. We'll also skip the upgrade for that cult. I don't really want to pay the plus 300 per turn right now. Although on the other hand, it does take 10 turns, 11 turns to build it. Yeah, okay, yeah, maybe we will pay the 300 gold per turn. It's expensive, but not so expensive that it's, you know, game-breaking for us. Alright, what is this? Maintain control of 3 provinces. Okay, game, okay, calm down. Oh, 14 word save. Not bad. Delete this. The Slaaneshi corruption isn't going here. Oh! Does vassalizing factions as Dechala not give those factions Slaaneshi corruption? Oh, it's a little bit odd. Not a big deal, but a little bit odd. Anyway, Dechala, move. Move and channel. Alex, do the same. We will recruit next turn then. Alright, and then you guys can keep racking up the XP while you're in this province, at which point we will switch out the commandment, and then probably re-up this for when we fight Nakai, or move to fight Nakai. Cathain Hinterlands. Let's go for the Thrall Dens now, upgrade both of these places, and otherwise we just gotta save Thralls until we're ready to upgrade the Wing of Sensation / Indulgence. Skip, let's double check Diplo. Anybody interesting? Eastern River Lords. Spirits of Shanlin. Yeah, I wonder what it takes to vassalize you. Oh, minus 69. Okay, nice, but, you know, not possible right now. Alright, fair enough. In turn. And it looks like Nakai's got a full stack. There we go. Alright, I'm hoping that we can get to the fight against this full stack this episode, because I'd imagine it'll be a nice one. Moving back like this is taking a little bit of a while, but all good. At the end of the day, taking a few turns to move forward isn't a bad thing either. Technology researched, yes. Armor for Marauders and free 200 Thralls? Let's give this a read. It has been too long since your demonettes last slaked their desires. Frustrated, 6 of them dance towards the nearest mortal settlement, where they adopt the forms of beauteous men and maidens, unclothed and glistening. Hundreds flock to them and know an agonized rapture they will forever crave to experience again. Plus 200 Thralls. Courtesan for Alex and Dechala. Let's get you Iron Curse Icon. You can double up on your weapons as well. We have... you know what? You're more fragile. I'm going to say we'll give the Charmed Shield and the Iron Curse Icon to you, and then the last Charmed Shield. Is every... I wonder if we're supposed to be getting a billion Charmed Shields. Kind of interesting. Anyway, channel for one more turn. Alex, you're going to recruit Marauder horses now. And we've got a tech to pick, so we are going to go for... I think, like I said, we're going to go for this. I want the population surplus. Thralls plus 50 per turn? Huh, maybe I should have actually started with that. That's a solid gain. I didn't want to spend like 8 years taking a look at the options there. So Marauder Horsemen of Slaanesh versus Hellstriders. I want a little bit of range capability and sort of harassing capability. I would also just want to double check, do we have any new Marauder range style unit? I know the Norska does, but I don't know whether we have access to something similar. Doesn't look like it, though Dechala does buff mortals once again, so I think maybe we should take advantage. Sort of harass the enemy army on the way to us and apply that poison to as many units as possible. It kind of makes sense. It's gonna be a while before we get to Pleasure Seekers as well, but we'll get there. We'll get there. And let's see, Hell Players, Exalted Secret Chariot. Yeah, just taking a look at them. Oh, we got access to Pratons as well. That's nice. Okay. We'll get there. Skip, I did recruit. Yes, no, I did not. I did not. Marauder Horsemen of Slaanesh. That will put us up to 19 out of 20 plus 1. I would also like to check, Cultist of Slaanesh. So, we got Rabble Rouse, Leadership for all units in army, character experience gain plus 75%, wow. Versus Cunning. And the Cultists already have fairly high melee defense. This is nice, though. Ambush success chance. Oh, that's a hard choice. I'm very tempted, I admit, by the character experience gain being so massive, but, well, the ambush success chance might be helpful. Especially if we want to bait some enemies into attacking us. Let's do you. Alrighty, and what do you do? More speed. Okay, good, huh? What if these guys have that same kind of speed trait? Would have been helpful. Gate of Slaanesh is at level 13, so we'll have to start saving points. Summon Disciple army size, spread corruption, establish cult. We'll put you in an army to help out. We may want to get a War Shrine relatively early, and what do we need to get a Chaos Sorcerer? Pain Vaults. Okay, so I assume... Well, I guess we'll be building both of these buildings. Druki Anointed, Exalted Heroes, Alluruses. Where's the Chaos Sorcerer building? Oh, it's here. Pain Vaults. Alright, fair enough. I'll probably want to build one of these as well. More Decadence. Always more Decadence. Anyway, I believe we're ready to end the turn and proceed to Nakai... Well, not Nakai's actual faction, his vassal faction. I see he's probably going to wipe out the Eastern River Lords before we get there. Although it does depend on if the anti-player bias forces him to turn around and move towards us instead. I guess we'll see. Alrighty, now, two things we need to do. First of all, we swap out of Palatial Delights since we will no longer be in this province and switch to Corral the Thralls for the growth. We'll switch to Control later on. Here we will upgrade the Asylum of Craftsmen for additional income per turn, since everything's getting more expensive. And the toll will increase the amount of thralls added to the pool at the cost of thralls. I think I'm going to start with the growth, actually. Rest and Respite, just because it will allow us to upgrade these both to tier 3 more quickly. This is apparently not tied to growth at all, similar to Towers for the Chaos Dwarfs once again. And we just need thralls to upgrade it, which, by the looks of it, we'll have next turn. Anyway, Dechala, let's declare war. Like so. What do we have in terms of defense? Oh, yes, never mind. I was thinking it might be a pathetic garrison, but it looks like it isn't. We're going to pop a Spur of Eagerness once again. Costly though it may be. And attack the Tower of Ashung. Like so. Then we will possibly use some money to corrupt some forces, but before we do, we want to do two things. You're going to besiege. We are going to want to transfer both of these Marauder Horsemen of Slaanesh. Like so. And we're going to want to grab... Okay, actually, I just want to double check. Tactician, passive ability, Ooh, melee defense and area. Oh, I actually like that better than what we currently have. Huh. Might have to replace you. Do we do that right now? What does this do again? The melee defense we could go without. The ambush success chance is nice. The thing is, you could go into the army and get the XP right now, whereas melee defense is something that the Slaaneshi will need, though. What are these at? Well, these melee defense... Okay, wait, I just want to see something. Assuming that we have... Well, the Chaos Warriors will have okay melee defense. I'm just taking a look at the mortal units, basically, and their melee defenses, but you can always use more, that's the thing. Yeah, it's probably better. Alright, it was a little bit of a waste. Cost us, what, like 2,000 gold? Well, 600 gold, that's fine, alright. Sorry, Sulfanet, as much as I'd love to have you, we're going to go with this Tactician instead. I don't really care about the aura, but whatever. Actually, would help demonic units and armies with demons anyway. Druki Anointed, let's max out hard to hit now. And you, Alex, will go and grab... I mean, we'll want to max out Lash of Slaanesh and grab Blissful Rapture, because you're going to be spamming it a fair bit. Alrighty, then Dechala. It's time to have a nice fight here. Let us... Can we corrupt? Yeah, we can corrupt big boys. It is expensive. But this is going to actually be a tough fight. That's a lot of Saurus. We'll corrupt these guys. They're elites, but ignore the Saurus. Corrupt. Alright, and away we go.
I shall kill them at their most passionate and make a necklace of their flashing eyes.
Alrighty, here we go. Should be a pretty fun fight, I'd wager. The Decala's got a silver shield up and running now with the Charmed Shield combined with the Praise of Slaanesh plus 20 missile block chance. Anyway, as I was saying, we got a full enemy Lizardman stack against us, and of course the defensive buffs and generally choke points offered by the enemy settlement. I feel like if the roles were reversed, I would be pretty confident in winning on the Lizardman's side. They have a lot of Saurus to block off those choke points, and of course they do have a lot of choke points in general. But anyway, Marauders of Slaanesh here, Hell Scourges with their whips will be joined by some Slangors, which are going to head towards that barricade while we obliterate the first of the enemy range units with our own. The Devotees of Slaanesh, but it looks like don't actually have a lot of ammunition, but it kind of makes sense if they're a unit that maybe wants to go into melee after using up their ammunition, so, you know. What's their HP value, out of curiosity? We got 7,000 HP compared to the 9,000 of the Devoted Marauders. Kind of makes sense. Basically, use their range to damage the enemy a little bit and then swap them into melee when the armies have engaged each other. and hit the enemy in the back with them. Just like shades without the stock. I do wonder if we can give them stock, though. Anyway, the enemy will charge forth towards us with a unit of Kroxigors to move with the Skink cohorts and the Saurus, and it looks like Cold One Riders have joined the fray as well. I see those Kroxigors are getting kind of pincushion now, as we have tried to focus them down with our devotees, while Dechala, with her buffed form again, as in defensive form, Praise of Slaanesh, and just essentially blocks them off. A little bit difficult to see the fight against the lizards here, but fortunately we have other fights in other places. We got more Saurus moving down to deal with with our units of devoted marauders, as well as a feral stegodon, who are going to do our best to pincushion. The 2 units of marauder horses, as well as the 2 units of devotees, are going to focus it down, plus the 2 units of devoted marauders spears. Admittedly, that's a lot of resources to expend on a single unit, but at the same time, we have to fight through those choke points anyway, and our units are, well, pretty busy there. And we want to actually take advantage of the choke points in the sense that we have brought our Allurus, or specifically the Herald of Slaanesh here, who will be able to spam that Lash of Slaanesh and punish the enemy for blobbing up. They may want to use those choke points, but the effectiveness of them remains to be seen. And Dechala is still in the center of the formation. I imagine she won't have taken too much damage. 103 melee defense. Our first Lash of Slaanesh will also come down in the center of the enemy formation and do about 20-25% damage to every unit. Less to the Cold One Riders, obviously, than the Skinks and Saurus. And it does look like they are blocking us off pretty well. We've been in the brawl for nearly 4 minutes now. And we probably could have used a few more range units here. Might be tempting to get a couple more of those Marauder Horsemen of Slaanesh in the early game. We can always, you know, send them to another army or delete them. I have unfortunately gotten really used to having the Warband mod and being able to upgrade units. And it might have been nice to be able to upgrade the Chaos Warriors, or the Marauders, or some of the Marauders to Chaos Warriors and all that, but all good. We will deal. Anyway, our devotees have run out of ammunition at this point and are going to head into the melee. I would imagine that... Are they Twin Blades? Yeah, they are. So they're basically like Twin Blades Shades, I guess. Minus stock. And again, surprisingly low armor piercing, so not on the level with the Dark Shards in that degree. All good though. These Saurus are probably going to be holding for a while, and we're going to have to change that to some degree. Once we're through this choke point, and by the looks of it, we're very nearly so. The Stegodon has come back, but it won't be back for long. Then we can send the, well, probably the Allurus over that way to cast a few spells, while the rest of our units mince those Skinks and Saurus. Alright, it looks like the Steg is booking it on out of there. Allurus will give chase, or Herald of Slaanesh will give chase, while Dechala will lead from the front. And again, she's tanky enough that she's not really threatened by any of this. Yeah, 93 melee defense, it's pretty ridiculous, and again, she's still knocking things around. Alright, very nice. Let's see if we can't get a few of those execution animations now while we fight. Or charge through the enemy like so. And wellity, nice hit to one of those Kroxigors who have returned, and it looks like seeing one get executed by Dechala immediately get terrified away. Looks like the enemy Steg has been brought down by the Herald of Slaanesh, who makes her way to the second choke point and starts dropping Lashes of Slaanesh upon it. Going to be in the fight here, and for as long as the Allurus or Herald can hold, we'll just spam the spell, especially since it has a rather low cooldown and pretty decent damage. Alright, now you're gonna get surrounded by Saurus, but you are demonic and thus have... only 10% physical resistance? That's surprising. I thought it would be more. Oh well, not a big deal, I hope. And there's the second Lash. Lovely. And that should allow the devotees and the marauders to clear the way faster. Anyway, the Saurus are doing a fairly decent job holding, so what we're going to do is move the 2 units of Slangors that we have around their flanks and try to do a little bit of extra damage. This is kind of a good position because it for the enemy, and because it takes advantage of the sort of pathing woes of minor settlements. Dechala has in the meantime peeled away by herself to fight some Saurus warriors here. They're not going to be super threatening to her, and at the same time, it'll prevent them from joining the fray against the other units. We'll want to take advantage of Decala's super high melee defense here. Alright, does look like she likes to charge forth into the, well, charge forward, I guess, which does mean it's going to be difficult to keep her in the center of the camera. Kind of like a, I don't know, like a burrowing tomb scorpion in some ways. All good though. Tactically, nothing much to say. We're still stuck in the choke points until we clear them. And now Decala's pinning 2 units back and still mincing them fairly well, though she has at this point lost about 25% of her damage, so something. But I've gotten 80 kills, which ain't too bad. The Saurus here, however, deprived of their reinforcements, are now surrounded with the Slangors hitting them in the back. And of course a little bit of extra range support coming in from what remains of our Marauder Horse's javelins. They're in very bad shape. The Allurus has cleared 131 kills herself with that Lash of Slaanesh spam, and by the looks of it, the Saurus that are holding this choke point, smartly holding same said choke point where this, I don't know, the platform, well not the platform, whatever this thing's called, barricade trap is, with the 15% melee attack reduction. But they won't be holding it back for too much longer. In fact, the bounce power has shifted to about 90% in our favor, and, well, actually shifts 100% in our favor, and with that, the battle is ours. Very nice. Certainly, we had to work for it, nearly 9 minutes straight of just sitting in those choke points and cutting the enemy down, but until we have other elite units or some stalking units, which we might use to get around the enemy, that's just what we're going to have to deal with. If we had those units, we would have probably just gotten moved like this and then smashed into the enemy's backs, but we still carried the day just fine in the cutting them down the old-fashioned way. Alrighty, there we go. Very nice fight, and of course the Saurus held the line for quite the while. As usual, our champions of Slaanesh rack up those kills and the damage, 16k. Dechala got 14k as well with 178 kills, which is pretty impressive considering she was in her defensive mode the entire time. Very low melee attack, but I guess she has sufficient splash damage to, again, ignore the lack of melee attack, generally speaking. And I guess later on, when we double up on her weapons, we can keep her permanently in that mode for additional damage. Great damage out of Alex as well, just spamming Lash of Slaanesh over and over again. And the devotees of Slaanesh did well, first using up their crossbow bolts and then heading into melee to slice and dice those Saurus. Lovely. Also good work for the Slangors. Anyway, close victory. Decent amount of cash, could use more thralls, but oh well, all good. And, ooh, yes, we can create vassal. And it gives us a lot of thralls as well. Huh, that's interesting. What would have happened if we had wiped out the Cathans as well? Would we have been able to recover them as a vassal? Or is it only chaotic adjacent factions that we can do that to? I don't know, but I do want the thralls, so yes, create vassals. There we go. Extinguished Phoenix Pinion and the Princes of Perfection are going to pop into this army, though I guess the question is what do we replace? They're a spear variant, so probably replace one of the... Okay, you go into channeling. Replace one of the... Slaanesh Zealot, sure. Cold One, sure. Steed of Slaanesh, sure. Yeah, replace one of these guys with the damaged one. And oh... We'll have to... Okay, fine. We'll send you back to pick that up for us. While Dechala gets moving towards Mr... let me grab that. Towards Mr. Nakai. Beautiful. Alrighty, and since we now have over 1,000 thralls, we can upgrade our Pleasure Palace to the 1st level. Or the second level, whatever. And we'll need how much to upgrade it to the third in order to enable us to get another pleasure pass? 2,000. Alright, so it's going to be a bit until we get that, but all good. Anyway, with that, folks, great battle in my opinion. Unfortunately, we are out of time, and I'm going to have to call this first episode here. Next time, we take on Nakai and keep upgrading our army. Hopefully get a few more of the new units up and running, as we will do our best to build up our first province and unlock the much-needed recruitment. Plus, we're at 70 decadence. I imagine next turn we'll unlock the Tormentors tributes and be able to have some fun with that as well. Slaanesh looking pretty good so far, and I'm excited to see more, so stay tuned. Don't forget to leave those likes and comments below. All glory to the algorithm. Thanks for watching.